Here's why congressional stock trading will never be banned, no matter what they tell you they're going to do about it. First and foremost, being a member of Congress is not a tremendously high-paying job when you consider what else it entails. And even though they have good healthcare and a lot of time off, it's a full-time job in the sense that you're constantly visible and scrutinized. On top of that, many people have to move away from home to live in DC, to go to the meetings and such. Your career in the public eye can be destroyed in an instant, etc. So the whole idea that somebody would want to do this is based on basically two things. One, that you're just so dedicated to want to do public service, which I'm sure is a component of most members of Congress. But the other is the unspoken way that they make money on the side of that. This comes in the form of access, kickbacks, speaking fees, book deals, or what you would refer to as booty, like free items, free trips, free dinners, things like that with their friends. But the most significant of all is congressional stock trading. Because generally speaking, congressional stock trading with insider information, or what most people would consider to be insider information, is completely legal. Stock market trading is really one of the only investments where you can get in and out, sometimes within seconds. And since a lot of the market is primarily driven by government, aka policy, grants, giveaways, kickbacks from the government, and also the news cycle, if you have access to either of these two things, you can be a really ahead of the game trader and have a huge advantage. There really is no other investment where you could legally put in an amount of money, earn 10% or even more on that in a single day, or sometimes in a single hour, and then get out. Meta, for example, one of the largest big cap technology companies in the world, went up over 11% today. This came primarily because it was a day after an earnings release, meaning when they announced their financials for the previous quarter. The numbers were strong, the stock popped. Usually that's how it goes. But these types of moves are extremely common in the stock market with other information, like you're about to have a specific drug that gets approved by the FDA, or you're about to get a grant to build a lot of some item or service, some government agency, some long contract where you get paid a ton of money for it. It could be for servers, it could be for cars, it could be for weapons or whatever. And when you're in Congress, it's not so much that you have access to the information that gives you a heads up of what's going to happen with these companies. It's that you make the stock move based on your decisions. You don't have any information about what's going to happen. You make the information happen. People are responding to what you are doing. So by being on the inside, by being in a committee, by knowing what type of contracts are about to come to fruition, or who's about to be investigated, or what type of person is about to be under what scrutiny or have to testify to Congress or whatever, you have a huge amount of inside baseball where not only do you know what's going to happen, but you can control what's going to happen kind of for those stocks. In the traditional sense of stock market investing, you would have to have a large amount of money to put in to make a substantial amount of return from a stock going up or down a certain amount. So like using the example of Meta, it's like, okay, your stock went up 11% today. You'd have to put in, let's say, $100,000. Okay, so you made $11,000 in one day. Well, will you be able to make that tomorrow? Did you sell out of it? You're going to have to pay short-term cap gains on that. So you made, instead of 11,000 off 100K, maybe you made like 6. And even though that's good, you have to have a lot of money to move around. But here's the difference. A lot of who ostensibly has become the greatest stock trader in the world, Nancy Pelosi and co., what they do is they buy puts and calls. They buy options. An option is a contract that gives a buyer the right to buy or sell a specific trade at a specific price. These options are not an asset, it's actually a derivative. So it allows you to basically purchase the right to buy a specific position at a specific price or sell a position at a specific price. So you don't have to come up with all of the money in advance. You just need to know what it will do. These members of Congress are making a couple $100,000 a year in salary, but you can make a couple $100,000 in a month with this type of information. Suffice it to say that people are making probably 10 times their salary by trading stocks. Not to mention the fact that you could just as easily go home and kind of whisper it to your wife or your brother or your cousin or your uncle or your father or whatever else. Now, yes, obviously there's some legalities about that and whatnot, but like, again, it's like a cop prosecuting a cop. It's like the burden of proof is going to have to be so much higher for this to even happen. Well, they could probably get away with pretty much anything. And then there's the whole idea of disclosure, where you're supposedly forced to disclose the trades and sales that you make with your stock portfolio in a timely fashion. But for members of Congress, the fee, if you choose not to report this, is like a couple $100. So a lot of these guys are probably not even disclosing what they're buying or selling or what their spouse is buying or selling or whatever else. And also the ability to prove whether or not their information that they brought home from their job in Congress was the thing that made you purchase or sell a specific position at a specific time. Obviously, it's hard to prove. Otherwise, Paul Pelosi would have been in jail 800,000 times. Because it's either Hammer Paul is the greatest stock trader in the history of time, or he's way better than Warren Buffett and just nobody knew about it. As hers and his portfolio has outperformed every major hedge fund in America and probably in the entire world forever. So aside from all this, these companies and the investments in these companies, it's like this is a way for you to tell somebody what's going to happen or tell somebody what you want them to do without telling them, you know? They can invite them to speak at dinners. They can give them stock options or give them a equity position in a specific company. And then, mysteriously years later, that company or a company that employs that company or is a vendor of that company, well, they get some contract. And connecting the dots of all these things is next to impossible, and none of them would be held to account anyways, because they'd be basically coming after each other. It's almost like an unwritten rule. Congressional stock trading essentially allows them to insider trade and, for lack of a better phrase, money launder in plain sight. It's like, how do you buy your congressman? A lot of people think that you buy your congressman by giving him a sack of money in a dark alleyway or a parking garage or something. And trust me, I'm sure that happens. But another way is to give them information or suggest information or essentially lead them to information that would be favorable to their bottom line as it relates to a stock portfolio. Like, you should come to this event that we're doing in December and you should speak at it. And we're going to pay you $50,000 to speak for 5 minutes. And the reason that we're having that event in October is because we have a big thing that we're going to be doing. And it's like, cool. So then you buy however many positions in that stock or whatever. You go to that event, speak at it, get overpaid for it. The stock shoots up. Meanwhile, you know that when you get out of Congress, you're going to become an advisor or something to that company, or you're going to get a position on the board or more stock options after you get out of there or whatever. And then while you're in that position, you'll maybe submit their name as a vendor for some government contract or whatever else. And everybody's just scratching each other's back. So in summation, this allows you to enrich yourself 10, 15, whatever times you're going to make in salary working in Congress, while also garnering the temporary power and also the admiration that you so desire. Because a lot of these people are narcissists. So it's like people think you're a good person. You do supposed public service. You work real hard and make $200K a year to help the little guy. And then in the background, you're making 15 times your salary by making a couple well-timed trades. Then you'll get expensive healthcare for the rest of your life. And by the way, you're going to get all those people whose back you scratched while you were in that position of power that helped their companies. Well, they'll scratch your back for the rest of your life. It's really the best of all worlds, and it allows these big corporations as well as these individuals to all satisfy each other's needs simultaneously. Meanwhile, the person that loses, as always, is A, the taxpayer, B, the stock market investor, and C, the corporations or individuals that do not engage in this specific behavior. Because the company that doesn't participate in buying off these Congress people, they lose to the people that basically cheat. The members of Congress that don't do this or don't engage in this behavior, they don't make a lot of money. And then when it comes time to run for re-election or raise all the money that they need, all those deep pockets that know that they can buy off all the other people, they go for them instead. So then they lose their seat. They lose their power. The system is designed to take the honest people and eliminate them. And if that doesn't work, they'll just publicly destroy your character so that any sane, rational person would never want to go into that line of work in the first place. And that is why they will never ban congressional stock trading, no matter how much they want to pretend like they will.